Hey y'all, it's Megan and Andy. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Today's video is a special one that we try to do every single year. When it comes Thanksgiving and Christmas time around here, not only is it the holiday season like it is for everybody else, it's also our hog processing time. And we have been real busy doing that. And we're just going to bring you along with us what little bit we can. It's a lot of neighbors and family. We all work together, and out of respect for privacy and, respect for the folks there helping us, we can't show every single step like we would in a regular video.
Right.
But we show what we can, and I also realize that this video ain't for everybody, and that's fine. If you want to fast forward through some of the rougher parts, that's okay.
Yep, that's perfectly fine. And please keep in mind, too, that there's a lot of scenes that we can't exactly video because our hands are covered in meat. I mean, and we can't be moving cameras around.
Right. We can't touch cameras. So, but this is a special time of year for us.
It's a tradition, especially in our area, for this time of year. Like, it's... people have done it for generations. It's nothing new. People have raised hogs and done hogs the way we do them for years. Of course, we have more modernized equipment now than they used to back in the older days. But still, it's pretty much the same principles and the same concept.
I like to tell folks it's like what you read about in the Foxfire books. If you read the one that's about the hog slaughtering in the Foxfire book, it reminds me so much of us.
It does.
When you read about it.
It's a lot like it.
It's not even just about, of course, we're all filling our freezers with meat for the year, but it's all about the community and the fellowship and everything. It's just a real special time of year. It's not just about the processing part.
and that's exactly right. It's a lot about the tradition too, and I think keeping that tradition alive is something that's, I don't know, it's special to me anyways, because not a lot of people do it anymore.
That's right.
And it used to be a thing that was so big that the local community stores, all the local stores around here, would offer sausage grinding services. They would offer like your ham slicing services. They would do all that stuff. Like every country store you walked into had equipment to do that with, and it's just not a thing anymore.
Yeah. It's a dying art, honestly, and that's one thing. Just like what our channel is about, we're trying to preserve some of these old ways because we realize that, maybe your grandpa did it and you remember it when you were a kid, but don't maybe remember exactly how it's done, or it brings back those happy memories of when you were with your community and your family, and, the smell of the fresh sausage cooking or the smell of the fresh tenderloin cooking, for lunch. You just can't.
You can't beat it.
You can't put it into words, and, we tried to put a little bit of it in the video anyway.
That's right.
And guys, just always keep in mind before we get this video started that this is not a how-to video. This is just a video of us sharing a little piece of our life and tradition with you.
However, it would be awesome if you do pick up a little bit of something from it.
That's
just watching us do what we do.
That's right. So we hope y'all enjoy this video, and we'll get to it.
All right, light it. That's good. Get a fake. Take that back and shot. Good morning, y'all. I don't know if you can tell it or not, but it's kind of snowing out here this morning. It's It's not supposed to last though. It's supposed to be over pretty soon. Get the cheater fluid. Like that paper towel. It'll take off. Run out there and get them biscuits.
Okay.
You want a biscuit this morning?
No.
If y'all hadn't figured it out yet, today's another day of hog killing. We've already had one day so far. So this will make our second day. And to make things more complicated, it's snowing / raining right now at the moment. So I think that's going to be over with in time for us to go get our first hog. However, that vat's got to be lit early. It's currently 5:35 in the morning. And it'll take it a good hour, maybe hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half to get hot. So it's got to be lit early, that way we can get started right about daylight. But for now, I'll sit here and eat me a biscuit and wait on some other people to show up. I run up here to the house real quick. It's still dark out here, but it's turning daylight very, very quickly. Anyways, I was going to fill y'all in on what exactly is going to be going on today, because once we get started, I'm not 100% sure just how much talking and everything I'm going to be able to do, because I'll be busy working. It is still currently snowing / raining. Just checked my phone. That is supposed to be out of here, at least according to the phone, pretty quick. We will go get one of our neighbor's pigs first. Then we'll come up here and get our pig. And then we'll get my daddy's pigs. And we're down at daddy's place doing all the work, so we just get his last since we're there. Just wanted to fill y'all in. Whenever we start filming the actual pigs, it'll probably be one of ours. And so that'll be what we actually show. But we will be doing three hogs total today. Y'all look around. Just a little bit of snow laying on the ground. I'm gonna check the vat, see what the temperature is before we get started here. We'll be going pretty quick. According to this thermometer, it's 33 degrees out here already. There we go. 128. $129. So we are after about 150 here. So since it's only 129, I think I'm going to put just a little bit more wood under the vat. Oh yeah, it's done burn out. This is pine wood that we're burning here. I like to use pine and poplar because it burns quick and fast. It won't be long now. Loving these firewood totes here too. Y'all remember us making them last? Remember us making them last year? These things are coming in so handy for this, because we can just move them in and out of the rain, move them around. It's just nice. That's the best thing ever for firewood, is one of those crates. All right, well, the first pig has been scalded and he's getting ready to be hung up to gut. We're heading up to the house to get one of our pigs. Fortunately, my daddy's got a cab tractor. Makes things like this on a nasty day a lot easier to do. So I don't think y'all can see it in the video here through the windshield, but it's still snowing pretty good, surprisingly. course, you know, the weatherman says it's supposed to be over with by now, and it ain't. So why expect any different? Luckily, it's just snow falling and not rain. I don't know about y'all, but I'd a whole lot rather work in the snow than in the rain. At least we're not exactly getting wet while we're out here. But we're gonna go get our pig. Of course. Daddy loves to talk about, you see how we're lifting it up with the boom pole right here, which we call it a hog lift as well. But with that very same boom pole there, my grandpa used to have well, we still have it, a 35 Ferguson, which is a small tractor. And Daddy always loves to tell the story about the fact that the pigs were so big back then that they'd have to have two men sitting on the front of the tractor to keep the front end of the tractor from raising up. And whenever they pick the pig up out of the lot. So
that's that same boom pole?
That same as that boom pole, yep. Alright, we'll pull the fence back in. Daddy out?
I think so. Well, no, not yet. Well, he kind of.
Oh yeah, he's out. Pig is loaded up. It's currently about 10 minutes after 8. So second pig is fixing to go in the scalding vat. Be about a quarter after 8. So we're moving on pretty good. Weather ain't really slowing us down none. A day like today would have been terrible back in the old days when all we had was the open station tractors, no cabs. But a day like today ain't that bad when you've got a cab that you can travel back and forth up the road on. But we used to not have these cabs. Well, you know, y'all know I still ain't got a cab, but Daddy having a cab tractor sure does make this a whole lot nicer job than what it would have been about 10 years ago. Got to give him a bath before he goes in the hog vat. Try to see. Jacob, you take that back in and I'll do up here. Jacob, grab his leg and get the inside. There you go. Yeah, outside of the hand and that turning that way just a half. The other way. There you go. That went back. I just realized it was snowing. I didn't know it started back.
Big old snowflakes.
I see that. Throw some water on it. Some of the best stories you'll ever hear are told around a hog vat. Might hear a little bit of yelling, a little bit of laughter. Back in the old days, they probably passed a jar or two around. Yeah, fairly good.
Good through.
What was the one I done raked it out?
Kenning's up. Good through.
You need to left him in that longer. Well, the one thing, so he didn't have no help to get him in and out. Hold up. Yes, not coming as good now it's cooled off. Right here you're seeing me split that back leg down the middle. What I'm doing is cutting that skin right in front of that back tendon back there. And there's two tendons there. And those two tendons, you see me stick my finger right there. You get them loose and those two tendons are strong enough to hold up the weight of that pig. And that's how we've always hung one. So that single tree that we're hanging them up with, that was made by my daddy and it's adjustable for the width of an animal. But you can undo those chains and hook an animal up to it fairly easy and then adjust it back tight so it holds the legs the right distance apart for when you start to gut the hog. is one thing I love about scalding a pig versus skinning one. Is you can get all that hair off, get him good and clean. You don't have no hair to deal with. When you skin one, it's just like skinning any other animal. You naturally have hair get on the meat and everything. We don't really have that to deal with when you scald one. You get all that gone and have a nice, good, clean skin to work with. We'll scrape that thing many times. You see the dirtiness rolling off of them to get all that good and clean.
So this right here is what y'all hear me call the leaf fat. That's LEAF. And most of the time, this is what I make my lard out of. And it just comes right from the center of the hog right there. And that makes some of the purest lard you can make.
Bone in here I gotta get around. What, Bubby? Go ask Matey to open it for you. What? Are your hands still clean?
This is my spot now.
Yeah, right there's that bone. I gotta get around. Once I get around it, we'll be in good shape.
This is my spot.
Oh, God. Let me get a good hold up. Okay.
That help?
Oh, yeah. We got it, right? Yeah, look at that.
I got it. No, no, I cut you.
Well, I got my glove on. I use this one to do it.
Yeah, but don't know what I'm doing.
All right, you got it for a second?
I'm about to go to both sides.
So the reason we're rolling all that out together is because this is going to be a bone-in pork chop. So the ribs, backbone, all that's got to come out together.
There we go. Look at that.
Then the ribs will get cut off of the backbone here in a few minutes.
All right, lay her down.
We're killing two next weekend. That's when
Salt everything you can down.
So what you see us doing here is separating the midland from the shoulder and the ham. The midland is part of what you make your fatback from and your bacon. And that just comes right on out, just pretty as you ever seen.
No, yeah, he did. Yeah. That's just gotta be skinned. Whoever wants to do that.
Oh, I'll do it.
Right here, Kenan. I already done it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's that strip right there.
So the part she's cutting out now will be used for bacon, and then that top half will be what we salt down for the midland meat. Gotta go up some, ain't it? Right here, what you see us doing is cutting those ribs away from that pork chop.
Now, we won't slice our pork chops just yet, the way you're accustomed to seeing bone-in pork chops. We'll actually let them chill for several days. Makes them much easier to saw into slices.
Yep. And here we're just trimming off the ends to get it nice and square, and those scrap pieces of meat will go to sausage.
So hopefully you'll get to see us slicing this pork chop and putting it up in the freezer in a later video.
Folks, I know it looks like our fingers are close to that blade, and they are, but I promise you, we're being as careful as we can be. And here we are slicing the breastbone away from the ribs. And then I always like to trim right around the edge of the ribs just to get that little bit of a curl that's in the bone off of there. Makes it a whole lot easier to slice the ribs and a whole lot better when you're eating them.
You ain't got salt them down here.
So here I'm skinning the bacon. I like to get the skin off of my bacon. I guess you could leave it on there if you wanted. But I like to skin my bacon. This would be a much easier job if the meat was chilled out. However, it's not. So it's a little bit on the tedious side.
It takes a few minutes.
That it does.
You know, I was thinking about Grandma and Papa. I don't know, this time of year always makes me think of the old stories, you know.
Yeah.
And, do you know, my papa let his pigs run loose.
Did really?
Yeah. Yeah, not on purpose. Grandma,
What'd they do? Get out?
Grandma said when they first moved there where they live now, or where they used to live, she said that for whatever reason, them pigs got out. And Papa kept trying to keep them in the fence. And finally one day he said, I'm tired of fooling with these pigs. If they run off, they run off. Grandma said they never went nowhere. Said you'd holler for them and they'd come running. She had a mama pig, a sow, that had babies every year. She said she'd go over across the road to them barns to go hang a barn of tobacco. And she said she'd look and there come that mama pig and them babies. And she said that pig followed me everywhere and said she'd come running every time I hollered for her and said we never did keep pigs in the fence no more.
How about that?
Now, could you imagine pigs running loose on that road now?
No, that's a busy road through there now.
It is. It is. People used to keep pigs all kind of ways, though.
You know, I don't remember who it was, but there was an old couple around here. I've heard Daddy tell the story of you could walk up to their house and there'd be pigs laying up underneath the house.
Under the house?
Under the house, yeah.
Now, that's one animal I just don't know. They dig too much to be living under my house.
Tell me about it. You know, back then, you know, the house was on like a rock foundation, like
Yeah.
rock pillars, and said that you know, you could see plumb through underneath the house. Wasn't no foundation or nothing around it. And said that, yeah, you go up over there and underneath that house be laying two or three pigs. Got them a hole waddled out underneath of it. And could you imagine that? Boy, times has changed.
Yeah,
ain't
they have. You'd be put under the inspector's office for that.
Having a pig live under your house? Yeah, boy. Fixing to fix my bacon now. Look, I cut that big old piece of paper and I got a little bitty piece of bacon.
You put enough pep on it?
Yeah. Terrible at wrapping Christmas presents.
I'm not ready for it. It won't be in there.
$10 days, right?
10 days, yep. That's what I was fixing to say. If anybody's interested in the bacon, how exactly we make our bacon, we got, what, 2 videos
Yeah.
on it already?
And now the temperature of this building, for anybody wondering, is the same as outside pretty much, right?
Yep, which is why we do this in cold weather. Alright, now I got my hog jaw, which is the piece from the neck right here.
It's what a lot of people eat on New Year's.
We put the meat side down first, flip it over, then we'll rub salt all over the back side. This is the middlings that we just done. These were Daddy's.
Which is, for people that don't know, that's fatback, what that'll be.
Pretty much the same piece of meat your bacon comes from. It's just a slightly different curing process. Now I'm gonna leave this just laying here uncovered. It'll lay there for a couple of weeks. It'll take it that long to cure. But they can lay here plumb up till it starts getting warm outside. So doing it salting down meat like this is a good way to preserve meat, but just for the short term. So it would keep till springtime, and you can come up here and cut however much you want off of it, take it to the house and eat it. Bacon, I know a lot of people have asked in past videos why we wrap bacon up, why we don't wrap these up. So these are just salted. They're going to drain, but where the bacon has the sugar on it, the brown sugar, it creates like that syrupy type stuff when it starts to drain. And I like to have all that encapsulated in amongst that bacon because it holds all that sweetness and flavor in. Whereas this, I'm not after that type of flavor. So we just let it drain out, get the moisture out of it, and yeah, in a couple of weeks, this will be ready to slice and eat, put in the frying pan.
Dang, I got beat out again. I'll just sit over here out of the way.
So here you see us adding the seasoning to the meat before we grind it. I think that's also pretty important. And you see how my daddy's scattering it onto each individual piece of meat as I lay it in the pan. And the reason we have it in a pan on top of a set of scales is so we know we've got our mixture right. We know we've got our seasoning mixture right. But I like to put it on the meat before you grind because that gives you, well, the grinder actually mixes some of that seasoning in with you, but it's a lot easier to get good distribution with the seasoning before you grind the sausage.
You don't get quite as many pockets of just seasoning all matted together.
That's right.
That way.
That's right. So here you can see once it gets to the table of the grinder, they continue to stir that stuff around, making sure we get a good distribution of seasoning.
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll get started. And what got half of this, we mix it up. We got one more.
I took
Yeah, I'll make 2 points. Hay barn, hay shed.
You didn't ask me that. We don't do, Virginia does that stuff, but we don't do it.
They used to over here.
You ain't left the dishwater all day.
No, I haven't.
This is Meemaw, by the way. She's a professional dishwasher.
That is true.
So guys, that's going to conclude this hog processing video. I don't know if we'll get any more footage this season of that or not. We do good to put together one video of it just because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hands-on. And sometimes you just plain old get to talking and working and don't think about the camera.
That's true. And you know, we get busy, like you said, with working, and you know, there's a lot of things that we wish we could catch on camera, and then but once it's done, it's done. And it's not like you can go back and take a retake of it because it's done.
But we thought before we completely wrapped up this video today that this is now our third hog processing video. I think it's our third.
So,
we may have more than that, but I want to say it's our third hog processing video, and we want to answer a few of y'all's questions that you've asked through the years. We went through and just picked a handful, and maybe this will help you better understand the process. Well,
before we get started, there at the very end, you've seen us. That was the sausage. We were mixing the sausage. You have to mix all the lean and the fat meat, all that. You want to mix it together so you've got a good, even distribution of everything. Mm-hmm. And then, unfortunately, we was not able to catch it on camera because both of us had our hands in the meat. But we bagged that up into 1 gallon size bags. Yeah. And
it just makes it easier to chill out. It makes it easy to store until you're ready to pack it away. How you pack it away. It's just how we found easiest to help each other get it packed up to get it home.
Right. So. And I will say something that we learned this go around with sausage. For the first time ever this year, we ground some meat that had chilled out for like 24 hours.
Yeah, we don't usually do that.
Normally our meat is ground a few hours after it's cut up. And so this year, we were able to do some that had sit for 24 hours and it chilled out really good. And I'm gonna tell you, it ground excellent. However, that stuff was a booger to mix up, wasn't it?
I don't even know. I mean, how well we even got it mixed. We tried, but it was tough. Yeah,
so
it was tough.
I'm gonna tell you,
It had its ups and downs. I guess.
well, there's a lot of people that like to grind meat after it's chilled out, and I agree it does grind great.
But getting that sausage mixed
Right.
away, because I mean, like Andy said, our family's been doing this for many generations, and you got to have that sausage looking
Just right.
You got to have it looking just right, including mixing it just right and getting your fat to lean just like it's supposed to be. And when it was so cold, it was hard to get it exactly how we wanted it. I ain't saying it was bad,
But it's just harder.
it was just so hard. I would have some shoulders this big if I had to mix cold sausage like that all the time.
So to each their own, and I know people love to grind chilled meat, and that's fine if that's what you
Well, it
want to
went
do.
good through the grinder.
Oh, it did. It worked
Yeah.
great for that, but it was just tough mixing it. And in my opinion, to have some great sausage, mixing it is the key.
That's a big. Mm-hmm.
You got to have that seasoning distributed evenly, and you've got to have a consistent fat to lean ratio throughout the sausage in order for it to be
Ideal.
right. You don't
Yeah.
want to pick up a patty and it be half fat and half lean, and then the other patty be all lean.
Or it'd be you find like a bundle of, like a pocket of seasoning.
Or that.
Yeah, you don't want to bite into a sausage patty that's got a pocket of seasoning in the middle of it.
That's true. That is true. But anyways, into the questions here. And I think I'll mention something else before we get started with these. What you've seen on this video is an all-day process.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I did-
all day.
I did notice some when I was going back through the comments. Were asking how many pigs you did and how long, which I actually mentioned in this video. We did 3 pigs that day. But it started, the vat got lit that morning at 5:30. And that evening, because you got to think about, you have to scald, you have to gut them, you have to cut up all the meat, separate everything up into how you want it, and then the meat that we're going to salt down, we have to take and salt it down. Then we come back later that evening and everybody gets together and grinds their sausage. So the time it's all said and done, it is an all-day event. You're not doing anything else that day.
Well, and I'm going to tell you, too, like this. I know you hear us say we did 3, but if it was just me and Andy and the kids, we'd be lucky to get 1 done.
Oh, gosh,
in a day. I mean, we could do it. We could get 1 done today. I fully believe we could do it. But it would be sun up to probably way after sundown for just us 4 to do.
Yeah, there was a time.
One pig.
There was a time in my youth when Daddy and all that crowd was a lot younger, and there's a lot more of us, a lot more people that had pigs. We'd do probably 7 or 8 in a day.
I remember one time in my time being with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did 7 one time.
And those are big pigs.
That's a long time ago,
Yeah,
but I remember one time doing 7.
You know, our pigs, between everybody, usually average anywhere from 450 to 500 pounds. And so when you're handling that big of an animal in and out of that scalding vat, and then the cuts of meat, I mean, you know, it's a lot of work.
When you handling 50-pound hams and
Yeah, 50-pound hams and shoulders that weigh nearly that much.
well, and the pig that was in this video, I don't know if we mentioned it or not, but it weighed about 510. Well, the ham was 51 pounds. So,
yeah.
So that'd be roughly about 510 pounds. And so I still got our 2 biggest ones are still left.
Yep. I'm interested to see what they go. But, anyways, into the questions. And these particular questions were pulled from our other videos. And they were some of the most commonly asked questions. So I'm going to answer them the best way I can. And, yeah. So the first question that honestly was asked the most was, how was that pig dispatched? And
Yeah,
I would,
because we can't show that on video, so
honestly, I would love to show it on video, but YouTube wouldn't be too happy about it.
they would
And
probably kick us out the YouTube and put us under the YouTube channel.
and you know, a lot of y'all probably wouldn't be happy watching it either.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they are shot with a .22 rifle between the eyes. Well, not necessarily between the eyes, but usually with a pig, you can take from this ear to this eye and draw an imaginary line, and
Like
then
diagonal.
from this ear to this eye and draw an imaginary line.
Are you saying like the right ear to the left eye and
Yeah.
the left ear to the right eye?
Right, and where that line would cross, that's where you want to aim for. So it's usually above their eyes, like right in the middle of their forehead, kind of. And that's how it's done. Then you take a knife and stick them. A lot of people say cut their throat, and I guess some people do that. However, that's not what we do. We stick them, and you get that artery that's in there, and you cut that artery, and that lets them bleed out. But you want to do that almost instantly after that pig hits the ground. When that pig slaps the ground, you know, it's usually a hustle to get the gun away from whoever shot it and hand them their sticking knife.
And the reason being, that's what keeps from having bloody meat.
Yes. Yeah, it's just like, that's the same process with a cow.
And with a chicken.
The chicken bleeds out when you do them. You know, it's just a process that you have to do when you're butchering an animal.
Yeah, well, I mean, you ever heard the saying, bleeding like a stuck hog?
No.
There's some truth to that.
Yep, there's some truth to it, that's for sure. Then now our scraping tools, what we scrape the hair off of the hogs with. A lot of people ask about those. I call those a hog scraper, and I reckon that's what they're called. I mean, we've used them forever. We've got some newer ones. You can actually buy them on Amazon, and if I don't forget, we need to put a link to those on our website.
All right.
Because that's the only place that I know of that you can buy some new ones these days.
We've bought them at like antique stores and stuff.
Yeah, I've bought plenty at antique stores. Matter of fact, we got two sitting back there on the piano.
We got some nice ones.
Those are some really nice ones, and I don't want to get them dirty and use them. But anyways, you know, that's a tool that's been around a very long time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, you know, we've got some that's been handed down from like my grandpa and my great-grandpa, like some old ones. And those are honestly the best ones. If you can get your hands on one from an antique store, that's...
Well, the metal is so much thicker. That's
Yeah.
what I've noticed.
Metal's a lot thicker,
Yeah.
and that's the way to go.
And they're sharp, because they're kind of like a knife, right? Like they're sharpened
and-
around that bell.
Yeah, no, but you don't want them too sharp, because if you got them too sharp, you'll start to cut into the skin, and you don't want to do that. You want it to be just jagged enough that it'll pull that hair and that scurf, what we call the scurf, but not dig into the skin.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I've used them before that somebody had sharpened really sharp, and it's actually, you don't want it that way, because it'll cut into the skin too bad.
I got you.
All right. Now this one I thought was kind of interesting, and I don't really know the answer to, but several asked, is there a difference between a domestic hog and a wild hog?
Well,
Like as far as the processing process.
Oh, no, I was going to say as far as the taste, I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there is.
Because it's just like a domestic turkey versus a wild turkey.
There's a big difference.
Comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah, it's almost like it's not even the same meat.
No.
But with the taste of a wild versus domestic, I would imagine there's a huge difference between the two. But if
you know, like, leave it in the comments, because we don't have any experience with...
We don't have wild hogs here.
Yeah, thank goodness.
So as far as processing them, I would imagine the cuts of meat and everything surely would be the same. But as far as scalding one and scraping that pig and everything, I don't know.
Yeah, them things are fuzzy.
Yeah, they're a lot hairier. It would probably work. I mean, so if you know, somebody leave that answer in the comments. Yeah. But I would imagine that you could probably scald one of those just like you do our pigs. But I don't know for sure. Okay, so something you may have noticed in this video, and this was a question that was asked a lot in the last couple videos, was, well, on those particular videos, they asked, why did we cut down each edge of the backbone and cut the backbone out of it? Well, on the pig we did in this video,
getting a pork chop.
We cut straight down the middle of the backbone with a sawzall, and had a piece of the backbone on each side of the rib cage. But in the previous video, we had cut those ribs right off the backbone and pulled the backbone out of it. And that's just preference. So on this particular pig we did in this video, we wanted pork chops from it with the bone. And so to do that, you have to cut that backbone in half, like directly down the middle. And you always know if you did it right, because you'll see the spinal cord right down through the middle of it if you've hit it in the dead center. But if you don't want the bone-in pork chop, you can take and cut right down each side of the backbone, cut through each rib where it comes off the backbone, and you can pull that backbone out of it, and then you can slice that backbone up and fry a backbone.
I've done it in a few videos. That's one of my favorite cuts. I love the backbone.
Yeah, the backbone is really
It's
good.
got some nice meat on it.
And if you don't want to fry the backbone or don't want the backbone, you can always take and cut the meat off the backbone and add it to your sausage
Yep,
meat.
that's right.
And that's the cool thing about a pig now. Just about it, you know, there's not a whole lot to throw away unless, for us, we don't eat many of the innards.
The buzzards got to eat too.
Yeah, but you can add any piece of scrap and all that stuff, you know, into your sausage, and it just gives you that much more sausage.
Mm-hmm.
So, another comment, and this wasn't technically a question, but this was just a comment that we get a lot. I can make a post on Facebook about killing hogs. We can have it on our videos or whatever, but people always comment about that smell. They're like, I remember that smell, and I'm so glad I ain't got to smell it again. You know, talking about how bad it stinks. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Now,
It's got a smell, but it's not bad.
we have had pigs in the past, though, that have had smells.
Maybe it depends on the way they're raised.
That's what I think. That's what I was getting at.
Because you're right. We have had some pigs in the past that were raised in a building that somebody brought down there for us to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they did stink.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about
Yeah,
that.
it's been several years ago now, but the meat even itself.
The meat's got a scent to it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, as far as ours go, I mean, there is a slight smell when you're scalding that pig and scraping it.
Yeah, like you can see,
But
it don't stink though.
It don't stink. It's not.
I
It's
guess-
not a bad smell.
But now, if somebody ain't never smelt it, now they may come up and be like, "Oh, that's."
Maybe they do. I'll be honest with y'all. I think the smell at the end of the day when we're done, I feel like I stink. But the thing is I don't feel like I smell like meat. I feel like I smell like the smoke from the vat and everything else.
I feel like I smell like grease.
And grease, yeah, you do have a grease smell to you.
Yeah, like I have a certain set of clothes that I wear when processing hogs, and they've all got grease stains.
So maybe that's just what it is. Maybe we're just used to
Maybe
it.
we're just used to it. Yeah.
But there's definitely, in my opinion, a lot worse smells than the smell of
yeah.
a scalding pig.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I think we've even had the question before about scalding, about it, you know, with the gut still inside of the pig. Well, you got to understand that when we scald that
that's a good
pig,
one to address because people get freaked out that the guts are in it. You put them in hot water.
well, you got to remember that pig was, before it goes in that scalding vat, was alive less than 5 minutes prior. Has not had time for anything to spoil. Goes in that scalding vat, and it's not in that scalding vat long enough to start to cook anything. Mm-hmm. And the temperature is not even really that hot. The temperature runs about 152 to 153 on average. I have seen people scald a hog as high as 160. I don't like scalding them that hot because that's a very fast scald and you got to move with it. But, you know,
and if it's too hot, it'll set the hair, right?
And if it's too hot, yeah, you'll set the hair. But I've seen several do it at 160. I just don't like doing one that hot.
Yeah.
But about 152 to 53, in my opinion, is about the perfect temperature. It gives you enough time that you can scrape the pig while it's in the vat, but you don't got to move in a quick hurry. But with that being said, like I say, it's not hot enough to start cooking that pig.
Right.
Unless it was in there for a very long period of time. And that actually brings me to the last question that I've seen the most of. How long does it stay in that scalding water?
5 minutes?
If I would say 5 minutes max.
Yeah, that's not long.
If you get a good scald on that pig, you can have that thing in and out of that water in a hurry and out on the table.
And the way you can tell, and you've seen in the video, you'll notice Jacob and Andy scraping that pig while it's still in that hot water. Mm-hmm. That's how you know it's ready, right?
Yeah, and we like to scrape as much of it as possible while it's in the vat. And then when you roll it out, you know, you've got less work to do. Mm-hmm. But it's also nice when you roll it out because at that point everybody can jump in.
Right.
Because doing the way we do, you probably noticed in the video, you have to have a man on this side of the chains. You have to have a man on this side of the chain with the chains. And they're the ones that's controlling that pig, rolling him back and forth. And then you need like 2 more people around the vat too to do the scraping. So you have one on the back side and one on the front side of the pig to scrape and just work with it. So, you know, doing it like we do, you can do it with 2 people. We've done it with 2 people at a vat where you've just got one on this chain and one on this chain. But you want your water a little bit cooler if that's the case, because you're not going to be able to move fast.
Yeah.
I seen one more question asked. How in the world was this done before a tractor?
There's a lot of old pictures out there floating around.
There's a lot of old pictures done around out there floating around. And, you know, as far as getting one up on the table, the scalding table and all, to get him into the vat, I guess you got to get creative with it if you ain't got a tractor. But I just want to mention, you know, you see us set ours into the vat with a tractor. That's something we ain't done forever. We used to lay the hog down on that wooden platform and roll him off into the vat. But we found that it was a lot easier for us just to set him in there with the tractor.
And also, people used to sometimes would take the hot water from the vat and would pour it on the pig, instead of the pig actually being in the hot water.
I've seen pictures of that too. Never experienced it or never done anything like that. I've heard stories of people taking scalding water, dipping towels and stuff down in it, and then laying it out on the pig. Honestly, I could see how that worked, but my goodness, that would have to be a time-consuming process.
Well, and we visited the Foxfire Museum here several years ago down in Georgia, and there they have a scalding vat that we couldn't quite figure out with the shape of that scalding vat.
It's a bowl.
It's a bowl. And the only thing we can figure, and if you know the answer to this, tell us, but the only thing we can figure is that was used in the way we're talking about.
To make the water hot.
The water got hot quick because it's a bowl shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they would dip it out easily out of that bucket and sling it on that pig.
Right.
Is what I'm thinking how that was used.
And you could put up the argument that the pigs were smaller and they were able to manhandle them back then. But
I'm going to tell you what.
I'm going to tell you right now that there's a lot of pictures, and even from my family, they've always raised huge hogs. We actually raise smaller hogs now than what they did back when my daddy and stuff was growing up. Like, it was nothing to have a 600-700 pound hog.
Yeah. Ever how they done it.
Yeah.
They did. They would. So I don't know how they used to do it. I mean, honestly, like he said, we've never seen it.
You know, a lot of people ask about that vat too. Is it custom made or is it something you can make? I mean, it's something you can buy, and every vat I've ever seen was handmade by somebody.
Yeah.
That vat there was, Daddy made it.
Well, most people skin their pigs now. The new homesteaders.
They skin them.
They skin them. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's just not the way we do it.
Yeah. Somebody might ask me why I'd rather why I'd rather scald one than skin it. And I just do it. I like doing it because it's the way we've always done it.
Yeah. And you mentioned in the video it ain't hair flying everywhere.
And there ain't hair flying everywhere. You know, when you go to skinning an animal, there's hair. Mm-hmm. When you scald it and get all that hair off of it, you're still going to have a hair here and there to deal with, but it's not going to be like when skinning one.
Plus, when we make our country hams and our fatbacks and stuff like that, we like it to have the skin on it.
Yeah.
That's just personal preference.
Now, you can cure a country ham without the skin, but we've always had the skin on one. But your fatback and your hog jaw, to me, that's got to have skin on it, or it's not fatback and hog jaw.
It's got to have that little crunchy part.
You know, there's something we've been asked a lot is, well, what's the difference between your bacon and your fatback? And I think I explained a little of that in this video.
And maybe we can do a more in-depth video on that.
Maybe we can.
That section of it.
But in my opinion, bacon needs to be skint, and it's cured differently.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally different.
Yeah. Where fatback or middling meat, or I've heard it called streaked meat. Mm-hmm. What else do you call it? Side meat.
Side meat. Salted meat.
Salted meat. That has to have a skin on it, in my opinion, and it's pretty much cured with nothing but salt.
Yeah. Fatback's good.
Yes, fatback is very good. And fatback is like legit cured. Like, it can lay there and stay on that table for months without going bad.
And a lot of people use a salt box, which is not something that we do, but that's how my daddy did it.
That's how my daddy used to do it.
Daddy had a salt box. He put his stuff in.
Yeah, Daddy used to do it that way, but we changed our methods a little bit.
Changed our ways.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, I guess that's going to about wrap up today's video. I hope you've really enjoyed spending some time with us. I hope this has brought back a lot of good memories for you, or maybe some insight on how people used to live, and we hope we preserve that way. That's something that's really important to us. And it warms my heart so much that when we're doing this process, there are so many kids down there, and the kids are just dying.
They're ready to dig
help.
in.
Not just our two, all the kids. They're just dying to help, and they just want a job, and they're learning. They're learning, and that's what it's all about.
In my opinion, one of the most important things we do, like we mentioned earlier, you know, it's very important that we're putting meat in the freezer.
Right.
But in my opinion, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is continuing that tradition that pretty much kept this place alive for generations.
But anyways, guys, I guess that's going to wrap up today's video. I want you to know we appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all's kind words and comments and emails always put a smile on our face. If you and your family are still keeping up the tradition of killing hogs the way we're talking about, we'd love to see your pictures or hear your stories.
Yep.
Because, you know, after we started doing this, we realized maybe we ain't the only ones out there.
No, we get emails a lot of people sharing their stories and their pictures and stuff, and it's good to know that you ain't the only one.
That's right. That's right. Guys, hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week, until we see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good one.